capture a British fugitive, he hijacked a subway train in Berlin, Germany. He threatened German police with the lives of 200 passengers.
Speak to the police. There was a man that I want. His name is John Bailey Brown.
Dispatcher Clara thought she had misheard at first. A hijacked train, 200 lives used as leverage, all to find one man.
He's in Germany. The government know where he is. Tell them to find him. You will do exactly what I say, and you will do it quickly. And if you do that, nobody gets hurt.
Berlin Police Chief Winter was listening to a symphony, and the news stunned her on the spot. The investigation moved fast. The man they wanted, John Bailey, was a wanted fugitive from the UK. Since the target was British, the hijacker was likely British as well. Officers quickly reported in. They were coordinating with the UK, but Winter was already furious. Soon, everyone arrived at the subway control center. All trains had been shut down. The U5 line was completely sealed off. But finding John Bailey in such a short time was nearly impossible. Winter decided to call the hijacker first. She hoped to spot a weakness.
This is Ada Winter. I'm head of the Bundespolizei here in Berlin. Who am I talking to, please?
There's only one name that is important today. That is John Bailey Brown. Where is he?
But Sam only cared about John Bailey. Winter had no choice but to stall him. She said police were searching at full speed, but first she needed to know if anyone was hurt. Of course not, Sam replied coldly. As long as they did what he said, no one would get hurt. With that, he hung up. Winter felt the pressure immediately. With so little time, where could they find him? She turned her head and saw Faber, an intelligence officer from the British Embassy. He had been called in to help. At that moment, the hijacked train suddenly started moving. This was Sam's demand. Keeping the train in motion made it harder for German police to track it. At the same time, Faber shared new intelligence. John Bailey was the suspected mastermind behind a previous plane hijacking. After that incident, he vanished completely. No one expected he was hiding in Germany. Then the dispatcher reported urgently. The train was switching to another line. Based on the route, the next stop was Alexanderplatz. It was a major transfer station. A few trains were still evacuating passengers. Faber suddenly realized something. He stopped and began to think.
Sorry, this isn't my specific area of expertise, but did you say move the trains out of his path?
Clearly, Faber had already figured out a way out. At that moment, the last group of passengers at Alexanderplatz was evacuated. The police had everything in place. They planned to block Sam with another train. This served two purposes. First, it limited his ability to move. Second, it bought time for the arrest. Soon as Sam's train approached the station, he saw another train ahead. The train was forced to stop and couldn't move forward. Sam immediately contacted the control center. He demanded to know what they were playing at. They explained that the train ahead had broken down. Repairs would take some time. Meanwhile, Winter received a new update. The SWAT team would arrive in 15 minutes. That put Winter in a tough spot. No one dared risk 200 lives with a forced assault, but if he didn't deploy SWAT, he would still be responsible if things went wrong. After a brief moment of thought, Winter ordered SWAT to move in and stand by. Without his command, no one was allowed to fire. At the same time, he told Faber to identify the hijacker within 15 minutes. On the other side, Sam told the driver to calm the passengers. He claimed the train ahead had malfunctioned and needed time to be cleared. The passengers noticed nothing unusual. They had no idea they were hostages. Just then, Sam noticed a door beside the platform. It led to the platform control room. Inside were the surveillance feeds for the entire platform. There was also a passage leading straight to the surface. He immediately took the conductor off the train, not to escape, but to see if the passage could be used. As soon as they entered the control room, an alert passenger sensed something was wrong. How could the subway stop twice in a row due to malfunctions? He walked to the driver's cabin and knocked, but no one answered. At that moment, Sam was surveying the station. That's when he realized the platform was completely empty. He understood it instantly. The police had deliberately blocked his path with another train. Clara panicked. She was just an intern starting her second day on the job, but she had no choice but to lie. She said an engineer was on the way. Sam had already figured it out. This had to be Sheriff Winter's plan. Since the cover was blown, Winter stopped pretending. He demanded that Sam release the passengers first, then discuss the terms. To Sam, that made no sense at all. Once he let them go, prison would be the only outcome. So he insisted his demands be met first. Remove the train blocking the track, then they could talk. After the call ended, the situation fell into a deadlock. The negotiation had hit a deadlock. The SWAT team, realizing their plan was exposed, just wanted to storm in. Fopol still hadn't identified the hijacker. Without knowing his identity, they couldn't find a weakness, nor could they guarantee zero casualties. Meanwhile, passengers outside the door were losing patience. They started banging on the door to protest. Thankfully, Sam and the driver returned in time. The driver gave a half-hearted explanation for the stop. Then Winter's voice suddenly came over the broadcast.
This is Polizeipräsidentin Winter. You're right. We're keeping you in the tunnel. We're working on your demands, but we cannot jeopardize the safety of your hostages.
Hostages?
The man instantly became Sam's target. No one else in the train seemed to notice. Sam grabbed the passenger. The driver panicked. The situation was out of control. Was John Bailey really that important? At that moment, Sam came up with a plan to turn things around. Since Winter refused to compromise, he would force her hand. Sam acted decisively. He tied up the man's hands. Then he strapped a prepared case to him. The man was terrified. What was inside that case? He had a vague idea. Sam repeated his demand to Winter. He said he would bring a passenger to the platform. If the train wasn't moved before 11 o'clock, she would see what was inside the passenger's backpack. Winter was caught in a dilemma. Moving the train could endanger 200 passengers. Not moving it would mean the passenger would die immediately. At that moment, the SWAT team arrived at Alexanderplatz station. Passengers also received news from outside. The Berlin subway was completely shut down. Apparently, it was due to a security incident. Recalling their strange experience on the train, some passengers became alert. Meanwhile, Sam ordered the man to move forward with the backpack. He walked toward an area with enough security cameras. The driver couldn't help asking, if they didn't meet Sam's demands, would he really detonate the bomb? At that moment, Lisa, an intern diplomat from the British embassy, appeared. She claimed to have important intelligence. Fapol was stunned.
Sam returned to the control room again. He stared nervously at the man climbing upward. Winter saw this and spoke in a low voice. She said it would get an innocent person killed.
No, you are. Move the train.
The situation was extremely difficult, but Winter had already made her decision. She was just still hesitating inside. After a brief pause, Winter ordered the tactical team to enter the subway station. Everything was clearly visible to Sam in the control room. He immediately issued a warning. If the tactical team stepped into the station, the game would end immediately. Winter was confused. She didn't understand how he knew about the operation. Still, she ordered an immediate retreat. But unexpectedly, the dispatcher in charge of the evacuation suddenly appeared. Even more surprising, she didn't leave right away. Sam threatened Winter again. He asked if she had really decided whether to pull the train back. Winter couldn't answer at once. If the train was pulled back, 200 lives could be lost. All she could do was stall for time. So she asked for Sam's name again.
It's Sam. His name is Sam Nelson. That's who you're talking to.
At that moment, the diplomat from earlier spoke up. She said his name was Sam Nelson. He was a survivor of a hijacking incident. The person he was after was the mastermind behind that hijacking. After hearing Sam's name, Winter assured him they would definitely find that person, as long as Sam cooperated. Meanwhile, the tactical team rushed in and took the dispatcher away. Only the panicked man with the bomb remained. And at that very moment, Sam started the countdown.